Guys, and this is Doc and Bean. We are back with another video, and today we have with us Javier and Fon, who at the beginning of 2023 took a leap of faith with a decision to take a break from the daily grind, recharge, and roam across Southeast Asia. On YouTube, their channel is Retire, Recharge, Roam, where they document their journey and show us what it's like exploring the lesser travel destinations like Laos. Let's get into it, guys.
Okay, welcome.
Welcome.
Mhm.
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. Yeah, we are doing great. We are kind of at the tail end of a road trip that we started about a month ago through northern Laos. So, yeah, that'll be a series of videos that we release here over the next month. But it's fantastic to be here with you guys, and we're excited to talk a little bit about what we've done over the past 2 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's get started. First question is, what made you leave America or want to leave America, live outside of
Yeah.
America?
What was your why?
Yeah, what gave you that idea?
Great question. So, for us, I think it's always been part of our long-term plan to retire in Southeast Asia. So Fawn is originally from Laos.
Yeah.
I'm from Laos, from Vietnam.
Okay.
So we met 25 or so years ago. The numbers are kind of fuzzy in my head. 22 years ago. So correct me.
Yeah.
She was like 25, but
No.
2023.
I'm married and 2005.
That's right. So, yeah, so we met quite, 22 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
And the story was I spent 25 years in corporate America, just working, making my way up the ladder, and as part of my job, I traveled quite a bit throughout the U.S. and outside the U.S. So I traveled across Southeast Asia and China, Taiwan, Singapore, that kind of whole area. So we met while I was working, kept in touch, and a few years later we got married, and then Fon moved to the U.S. and we spent 18 or so years in the U.S. And again, we always kind of had this long-term plan of once we retired, we would move back to Southeast Asia, and just this is where we would spend the rest of our lives. Come I think 2018, we had this 10-year plan, and fast forward, we got through the pandemic, and like a lot of people, we just kind of rethought what we thought was important to us, and I decided I didn't want to spend another 10 years or so kind of chained behind a desk, kind of wasting away my years. We've seen a lot of other people kind of go through this rationale, and we've seen your videos too about how you kind of talk about how do you get out of the hamster wheel and do those kind of things. So for us, it made sense in 23 to pull the trigger. We had, probably for 5 years, since 2018 to 2023, we had been every year we kind of go through the numbers and say, all right, do we think we're ready? Or what more do we have to do? So yeah, in 23, we thought we were kind of close enough to pulling the trigger, and we did. So that's how we got here.
Yeah, that's what started.
So did you think that you were all the way ready, halfway ready in 2023, or is it like what they say, you're never really ready, you just have to go?
Right.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think we thought we were as ready as we could be. Maybe I'll say it that way. You're never really going to have everything figured out. I think that's one thing that we saw, that once we got over here, I'll even back up. When we made the decision to move over here, Fawn was actually over here visiting with her family. So we were on the phone or on Skype or what have you. And I remember that discussion. I was like, you know what, I'm ready. Let's do it. So that was in kind of late 22. In January of 23, we put the house on the market, and by March, we were on a plane coming over here, bought one-way tickets, and we just did it. So to answer your question, no, we didn't have it all figured out. We thought we had gone through it a number of years and a number of times, so we thought we had kind of the basics figured out. But there was a lot of things that we didn't quite know, and I think we just kind of figured it out as we were here.
Now, how hard was it? How hard was it to get everything together? Meaning paperwork, logistics, and all of the little things that nobody ever thinks about when you have to actually move. How long did that take, and how hard was it?
It was quite the 3 months, I'll tell you that, as we were going through that whirlwind, and that was, during that time we had seen some people kind of start to put things on YouTube as far as how they did their move, but it wasn't quite to the extent as maybe as it is now. So a lot of it we kind of had to figure out. I'm kind of a planner, so I had my spreadsheets, and we were tracking the things that countdown, 90-day countdown or whatever. What are the things that we had to do this month versus 60 days, 90 days? So we had some of that, and it helped us kind of make sure that we were on track. But there was still so much to go through, and as you guys are doing it right now, so we did the garage sales and figuring out what we want to keep and what we don't want to keep. So when we moved, we sold as much as we could. We had multiple garage sales that we went through. We sold the car. We had the house that we had listed, and that was right down to the wire. So that's another story. But basically, we had the final offer on the house the day that we were on the plane, and we're flying over here. So that's how kind of down to the wire it was for us. So that's where it kind of gets back to your question. We knew what we had to do, but at the end of the day, we just kind of took a little bit of a leap of faith and just trusted that everything would happen.
Like, we're scared to leave, and the house is not sold.
We still have things. I wouldn't be able to function. I have to actually clean
We're
up.
right there with you. I mean, we went through that, and I tell you what, the first month that we were here, after we got here, I was on the phone with the realtor. We got to do this. We got to do that. The air conditioner broke. We had to replace the air conditioner. The pool pump broke at our house, so we had to replace that. So it was just kind of, again, right down to the wire. And we were fortunate that the buyers were, willing to work with us through that whole process. But yeah, we did that, and we just kind of stuck to that plan, that 90-day plan that we had, and knowing that some things might not have all been done, but we're still kind of working down that path.
Okay.
So let me ask this, because we talk about the actual leaving. That means when we're going to the airport and we're leaving for good. So when I know, Fon, you're from Laos, so you're going back home. But Javier, you're not from there. So when you're leaving, and this is the final,
final time. This is it.
How did you feel then?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was pretty much like, this could be one of the last times that, I step on this ground or whatever. So, I mean, there was some of that, kind of thinking about when's the next time that we're going to be back in the US. But for me, I think I was just at that point where I had been through much of that kind of the daily grind and just had enough of that. So I was ready. I was ready for a change. And we've seen your videos about how you kind of talk about, going through the 9 to 5, and you can keep doing that. In fact, I could have kept doing that for another 15 years, but doing that, you kind of, in my opinion, I kind of waste away what would have been the best years, So for me, I really had no hesitation about it. The other thing that probably helped us was the fact that we weren't familiar with this part of the world. We had been, I had been here probably every other year or every 2 or 3 years. I would come with
Mhm.
Fawn when she was coming back to visit with her family. So it wasn't totally foreign to me.
Yeah.
But of course, when you come on a week or 2 weeks of vacation, it's not the same as when you're actually buying a one-way ticket and you're
Yeah.
here,
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah. So
yeah,
was Laos always the place because of that's where it's found from, or did you like what let me see other places, but that was always the place for you?
what do you think? You want to answer that one?
No, you can answer. It's fine.
So I think we've always we've always known that we want to be in Southeast Asia. We weren't really sure if Laos was the place or not, but we knew it was going to be probably either Laos or maybe Thailand, Vietnam, one of these one of these countries in the immediate area. And I think even now, I mean, we've got our home base here, and we're living with one's family on the farm that they have, and it's a great for us. I think it's a great way to start, and we continue then to be able to travel around and see the surrounding area and spend time in the other countries. So who knows? In 5 years, we may decide we want to travel somewhere else and stay there for a short time. I think right now we're very, very open to where we want to be long term.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you fully retired? Like, I'm not working anymore. Like, this is it. I'm just living life. Are you guys fully retired?
Yeah, that's a funny question. So when we left in 23, I was done. I was done with my corporate work. But within like the first month that we moved here, I found a local company that was looking for some support and in operations, that sort of thing. That's my background. So kind of funny enough, I actually within the first month I found a local company to do some work with, which for us it was great because they helped us with a 12-month long-term visa, and so that gave us the option to stay here within the country long term. So we did that for the first year. So actually, I worked, and it gave us the ability to do some of the things that you would do as local residents. So we got a local bank account, the driver's license. That we did those sorts of things because we kind of lived as an expat here, based in the country. Now that was the first year, and then my contract expired with that local company. And now the second year, we've just been truly retired, so traveling, living the retired life, so to speak.
Yeah. So when you were going, because every expat thinks this, and this is probably the most important thing, is how am I going to make money?
Yeah.
So when you decide to go and you're going to Asia, which is not really that expensive compared to America, but you still need income. So was that a big thing on, okay, how am I going to get income?
Yeah, like the budget.
Mhm.
How's yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question too. So that's one of the other things that every year I kind of went back through the spreadsheet and said, all right, what do we really think we're going to spend on a monthly basis, and where's the income going to come from? So yeah, that's a great question, and I think for us that's probably another reason why it made sense to focus on Southeast Asia because of the cost of living, and even start out with our home base here because this is a place in Laos where we could really get our foot in and spend some time with one's family and kind of get a baseline of what the true costs are going to be, because you think you've got a good idea of what the costs are, but maybe you don't really know until you're on the ground and you're living here full time. So
Yeah.
we did that, and I mean, yeah, we've gotten a really good baseline on our costs. I can tell you, well, maybe I'll back up. So for us, it also did make sense to make sure that we had some savings. So we made sure that we had some savings to cover us for the first year or two. And we also had some passive income to rely on. So things like rental property income, investments, those sorts of things that help provide that foundation. So
Right.
once we were comfortable that we had that, and we sold everything, so we had some some income from
Well,
everything that
yeah.
we sold back in the U.S.
Mhm.
So that having that, we were comfortable that we could live on X amount every month.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, once we got here, I think it's proven out very, very well. So for us, our typical costs, we typically baseline about $1,500 a month,
Mhm.
$30. Well, actually, the past month we've been living on under $1,000 a month.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
because of the road trip.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think, but actually being on the road, we are spending less than we were just being in one spot because it's
Mhm.
so inexpensive. Accommodations, food, everything, what have you, is less than
Mhm.
$1,000 a month for us right now. So, very, very inexpensive way to live and to
Mhm.
travel and to see the world. So, yeah, it's been great.
So do you find that with 1,500, are you skimping? Is it a lot or is it
Yeah.
average,
I
normal,
think
where you're
it's
comfortable?
I think it for us it's comfortable. I would say
Mhm.
so. If you watch some of our videos, I mean, we'll still go out. I mean, we're coffee nerds, so we'll go out and have a nice cappuccino or whatever.
Mhm.
We like to splurge every now and then, and still have some of the Western food. So I still go and find a place where I can get some tacos, so I can get
Mhm.
my Tex-Mex
Mhm.
if I want some of that, or get some pizza. But we don't live like that every day. We also are very comfortable just kind of live in with going to the local markets and doing those
Mhm.
sorts of things where it's very, very low cost. So yeah, to answer your question, we don't feel like we're skimping. We're pretty comfortable.
Oh,
Nice. So how is Laos? Like, how is Laos compared to
America. Yeah,
America?
let's do
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So when you get there and you're living there, because you've been in Asia a long time and back
Right.
and forth and anything, and find it's from there. But
Right.
do the comparison from living there for 2 years to America.
It's very different, and I think
Mhm.
I think you don't even really understand until you are here full time. So yeah, I
Mhm.
come for a week or for 2 weeks on vacation, and it was great. Yeah, it was like going anywhere else on vacation. Of course, you're gonna have a great time, but once you're here full time, you really start to understand the people. I mean, the people here and just the way that people live is so laid back, and
Mhm.
you don't worry about anything. I mean, people really just kind of live in the moment. They just really want to have fun and enjoy
So
life. You
Javier, did
know,
you have to learn it though? Did you have to learn that living there, especially being from a corporate background, a corporate job?
Yeah.
In America, everything is fast. So how long did it take you
To
to
to chill, to
right?
be like, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
that was something that I had to be comfortable with. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I think even now I have to still kind of tell myself sometimes slow down, because
Mhm.
yeah, when you come from the West and from a corporate environment, it is very, very fast paced. And for me, when I first came here, I always wanted to ask why. Why are they doing it like this? Why can't they
Mhm.
do it like that? Like
Yeah.
we do back home in the US. But at some point, I think you just have to stop asking those questions and just
Mhm.
enjoy life.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
really, after 2 years now, I feel like I'm now starting to really kind of settle
Mhm.
into that. But yeah, the first year was a transition for me. Yeah, well, you can
Yeah.
you can ask Vaughn.
we,
She'll
we
tell
can
you.
talk behind it, okay? He drive me nuts, okay? Oh my God. I say, oh my God, totally different from him, like this,
Yeah.
In
Right.
America, so easy, convenient, but expensive, you
Mhm.
know. If you
Yeah.
want something, you want grocery, okay, shopping market, big one, HEB or or I mean, what are the other name?
There's a Publix.
Public, yeah. So many
Mhm.
kind of the grocery store, nice and clean in Asia, in Laos, different.
Yeah.
Every
You have to
market
get,
different.
Mhm.
Every
yeah.
or every store different, Like if you want to go home store or that, you find something, you can go to,
Mhm.
like a Home Depot, whatever that easy to find. In here,
Right.
you have to drive out a little bit and find the stuff. You want something, maybe you have tried 3 different places before you can find the one you want it.
Yeah.
That's true. It is very
It's
different
very
in that
hard.
respect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
hard. You're not used to it. It's totally different, you know.
Yeah.
In
Mhm.
America, nice, convenient, but expensive.
Right.
But you
Expensive.
have to, everything have to sacrifice for.
I think
That's
that is a great point. I think that's one of the things you get about living back in the West, in the US. You pay for the convenience. So you
Mhm.
can get anything you want right away.
Mhm.
Self
Right.
checkout, you don't have to worry about anything. Here
Mhm.
it's on you. You have to figure everything out.
Yeah.
You gotta go to half a dozen different stores to find a jump start, for my car
Yeah.
to, for some cables or what have you. So in that respect, it is very different. You have to kind of figure it out on your own.
Mhm.
The other thing that's different is the safety kind of part of it. So I don't mean in terms of how do I feel. I mean, I feel very safe here, more safe than I've felt in a lot of places back in the U.S. You can go out, walk around late at night without really having to worry about anything.
Right.
Um, but the other thing that you have to keep in mind is here safety is a personal responsibility. So if I'm walking down the sidewalk, I got to keep my eyes on the sidewalk to make sure there's not a big hole in the sidewalk that I'm going to fall into. There's
Yeah.
those sorts of things that are different between here and the West.
Right.
Nice. But I always say too, like I like visiting like other places and seeing those places because of like everywhere here. I feel like in America, I always tell them the store is the same. Everywhere there's a Publix. Like there's no different. There's no like
Often.
authenticity. Yes. Every
That
city you go to, it's the same stores, same supermarket, same everything. I get tired of seeing it.
Yeah, that's real. You got your Publix, your
Mhm.
Lots, your
Yeah.
Yep.
Michaels, yeah, all the
Yep.
same stores.
Panera Bread, Starbucks.
Panera,
Like I'm tired of seeing that, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You won't find that here. I mean, you have to look, especially Laos, you'd have to really look for, your chain restaurants. There's not as much of that here. And that's how I would maybe describe this country as being different from maybe some of the other countries in Southeast Asia. You won't find the Starbucks around the corner or some of the other chain restaurants, a McDonald's or a KFC. So it is very authentic. It is very much you go to the local market or you find the mom and pop, restaurant where they're cooking the local food. And you think for me, I think that's even more about finding that authenticity, and really trying to connect with the people here.
Right. And what about like healthcare and stuff? Because now you're retired, do they require you to have like healthcare and stuff while you're there on your visa?
Mhm.
No, no. So actually, that's one thing that's interesting. To get a visa here, a long-term visa, there are no income requirements. There is no requirement around having insurance. There was during COVID, but I think that now is gone away. So it's a very straightforward process to get
Mhm.
the 12-month visa. You have to be sponsored by a local company, which again, that's pretty straightforward. Um, Healthcare in general is pretty good. There are now, if we live outside of Vientiane, which is the capital of
Mhm.
Laos, and so there are a couple of international hospitals that have come up. So as an expat, you can go and you can get what you're used to in terms of Western type care.
Mhm.
Okay.
And in fact, most of the doctors were schooled in the West, and then they've come back and now they work here in this area. But there's also a number of public hospitals. There's probably, I don't know, half a dozen or more public hospitals in Vietnam.
In Lao hospital, at least, and in my mind, have 5 of them, you know. The government, some soldier one, and some mother and children thing. Yeah, a lot of them. Yes, but depend on what you prefer. What you prefer.
Yeah.
You think everything in your mind. You think them good, they're good. If you don't think, you against them, they're not gonna be good, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I think it's all about the experience, about your expectations. And so we've never had a bad experience at any of the healthcare places or hospitals. The dentist. So we've got a video where we showed ourselves going to the dentist, and it's so easy. In fact, it's very different. I mean, Safwana went to the dentist, and she had a couple of implants taken care of. But you did the consultation, you did X-rays, took care of 2 implants, and altogether, I think it was like maybe $800, something like that.
Yeah, I got the two, one for like 400 each implanted, $400.
Yeah.
But
And when we had the same work looked at or priced with our dentist in the States, it was like $3,000 for an implant out of pocket, and that was with our insurance. So yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. So let me ask you, because Fawn's from there, so she speaks the language, everything's good. Have you been learning, or you already, the language, you're getting,
Very little. Very little. I'm not a very good student, so it's taking me a while.
Yeah.
I cannot teach him.
Yeah. I'm a poor student.
But like speaking English, everybody kind of speak English, or you think it's something like you have to learn in order to be there?
Yeah. Did you actually have a real language barrier?
Yeah.
Well, what I would say is, if you're in the main cities, you can find people that will speak English. So you could get by, especially if you go into again, like the hospitals, or you have to have some kind of service done, that you'll typically be able to find someone that you can communicate with. Once you get outside the main metro areas, then it does get a little bit more a challenge. But even with that, I think it's still I think you can get by. I mean, the body language, and you can point to things, and now with your phone, you can do the translate apps. So it's really not that bad. It's not very intimidating. People are very, very friendly, and I think if you just can learn a handful of different words and can communicate that way, people are very, very willing to work with you on that.
Okay, so I got to ask a curious question now.
I know, because I was just thinking that
you did a video on Laos versus Thailand.
Yeah.
And I want you to give us a comparison real quick for that.
Yeah.
Somebody else asked me that question. It was hard for me to remember what I had done in the video, but I'll tell you. So one way that I would compare Laos versus Thailand is to think about it like this. And people have told me this, that going to Laos is like going to Thailand maybe 30 years ago. So you kind of take a step back in time, if that makes sense. So that's nice because, again, people are very authentic. There's not as much of the commercialization, if that makes sense. Again, you don't see the fast food chains here in Laos that you might see in Thailand. It's more like mom and pop type stores, those sorts of things, which is nice. It's kind of a nice welcome change. And in my mind, people are very authentic because of that. I think, again, people just want to embrace life and enjoy life and have fun doing those sorts of things. Now, along with that, I will say that this is still a developing country. So once you get outside of the main cities, you'll see that the infrastructure is maybe not as good. So the roads are not as good. You could have issues with power during the hot season, those sorts of things. So it's just things that you just kind of a little bit of give and take, but as long as, in my mind, as long as you're open, patient with those sorts of things, then it's fine. It's great.
Yeah. So how's the food? Compare the food.
The food is fantastic. The food is fantastic. So I think what's interesting is, and this is my opinion, but what I've heard and what I've seen is uh, the Lao food has a lot of similarities to Thai food, and especially the Isan food, which is that's what's located up in the north eastern part of Thailand. So a lot of your papaya salad, your somtam is like the a similar type of dish in Laos. A lot of people would say that it started here and then it just kind of made its way through to the
I
northeastern
did hear that.
part of Thailand.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to compare the food, I think that I mean, I would say they're both delicious. I'm not going to say one is better than the other. I'm going to get some haters if I say that probably, but uh, it's great. I mean, it's fantastic. The flavors are you have the sweet, the sour, the spicy, the salty. Everything has that kind of the combination of flavors. So it's just like, oh man, it's so good. It's so good.
I know. Every time I eat, like, just because you're like, man, how
The
they
layers.
blend all the layers
We
and all
call
the
it layers.
flavors.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
That's
the
what it
layers.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
And
you're
you
right.
taste every layer. Like you
Yeah.
really taste every layer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it can be like a savory dish, like a meat or a main dish, or even a dessert can have those different layers in it, which is pretty interesting to me. And the fruit,
So,
the fruit is something else. I mean,
oh, yeah.
we lived all over the U.S. We lived in California and Texas and in Florida, among other places. But you won't find fruit like you'll find here in this part of the world in Southeast
Right.
Asia. Wow, and Thailand are the same in terms of the fruit, and it just tastes so much better here. It's
Right.
I don't know how to describe it, but it's mangoes. They're so sweet. It's just a different. It's like a whole other level from what you'd find at a grocery store back in the U.S.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the time from the tree to the store is a lot less. It's more
It's
fresh.
essentially just picked right off the tree when you see it at the
Right.
market. Yeah.
Right.
And it's completely different. Wow. So if, because you have a lot of people leaving America, but everybody seems like they're rushing to, maybe like Thailand, Bangkok, Mexico City. Why should someone put Laos on their radar?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think a lot of people probably don't really think of Laos as a retirement destination. It's not. It hasn't historically been at the top of the lists. Typically, it's maybe Thailand or Vietnam. One of the surrounding countries. In my mind, it's kind of a best kept secret. And for me, that's maybe why it would rise to the top of the list because it's still just kind of being found by a lot of people. And I think here you have the authenticity of the people, so you're able to connect. You're still able to find some really, really good deals in terms of accommodations, those sorts of things. Now, people will say that you could find the same thing in Thailand. That's true, but I think here you can really get off the beaten path. We sent you guys some pictures of kind of our road trip. I mean, it's amazing. Once you get outside the main cities, it's amazing what you'll find in terms of nature, the mountains. You've got the karst mountains that, I mean, basically just like maybe half an hour outside the city, you're in this huge mountain peaks and waterfalls, those sorts of things. So if you're into nature, a laid back life, there are still water features, but they're not. You won't have the beach here, but we have the rivers. I mean, where we are right now, people are going tubing down the rivers, so you still get a lot of similar type of experiences at a very low cost. So that's what I would say. If people are interested in still capturing some of what I would say is like the old part of Southeast Asia, if you want to take a step back in time and still have a very affordable way to live, then come out here and just try it. Come out here and maybe come out and visit for a month or 3 months or 6 months and see how you feel.
Yeah, because it's definitely on our list.
Yeah, we're going to hit every country? We've been
Because we've been to Singapore, yeah,
Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam.
Yeah.
So
but
it's just not Cambodia or Laos yet.
not yet, but we will.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys have to come out. Let us
Yeah.
know when you
So
come.
let me ask you, you've been living outside of America for 2 years now.
Yes.
So would you move back?
That's a great question.
Look at Fox, she was like,
No, for me, I would love to, if we had a chance to visit or stay a little bit longer. I love America. Don't get me wrong. I love
Yeah.
everything over there, you know. They open arm for me and
Mhm.
they let me stay there for almost 20 years. I love every
Mhm.
minute over there.
Yeah.
I kind of, the time we moved here, I know decision that for real, I deposit for a little bit, you know.
She was a little bit reluctant to move
You know,
when we did.
down and down and down and down until the last day we tomorrow. I said, "Oh my God, I feel not so good." I said,
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I think
"For me, it's my second home. You know, it's for me, it's everything."
yeah, that's very true. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, there would be. I mean, we have a lot of friends and family still back in the States, so yeah, it'd be a great place to go back to. But for me, the quality of life that you get here for what you pay is so much better than US. I mean, being retired now, I feel so much better. There's no stress. I'm healthier. I mean, I don't know, I probably shed like maybe 30 pounds since we moved here. So I'm happy, I'm healthy, stress free. So that's the part that you can't really quantify about the U.S. To go back there, you'd have the stress. And for me, that's associated with that I wouldn't really look forward to. Because we couldn't live on what we live on here back in the States. I mean, you can't live on $1,500 with the
Not
same quality of
comfortable.
life. Yeah.
Right.
So that's
Week or larger than week for 1,500.
that's the biggest difference. I mean,
Exactly.
again, like the past 2 weeks, we've tracked about maybe $500 in expenses. You could spend that in a week if you're going to some really expensive restaurants back in the States. So yeah, we're happy with what we're doing now.
So Javier, I just want to ask you real quick. You said you lost 30 pounds. Was that
Yeah.
just by eating just the regular local food and you just dropped the weight like that?
It's a combination. So once I think, yeah, I would say a big difference here is that the food over here is organic. So there's not the processed food. So I quit eating all the processed food that I used to. There's no Wendy's or McDonald's to stop at on the way back home. So I don't do that. And just for me, I was working in a very very high stress job. So I quit all the bad habits that I had before. So not eating at late at night, doing those sorts of things. So I think it was a combination of eating fresh, organic food and then getting rid of all the bad habits that I had before.
Right. Man. Because we're always curious to see what's going to happen when because we eat a certain way here. We try to anyway, we eat pretty organic and all that stuff. But it's just going to be refreshing that you don't have to do as much work to get good food. That's one of the pluses. We're excited about.
And in fact, you guys know this, but to get fresh organic food back in the States, you have to pay more. It's more expensive. It's not the case here. Here, that's what it is. You go to the market, and that's what they got.
I know. I have to pay you not to put pesticides on my food.
Right? Yeah, crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
But Man, it's been so nice talking to you guys. It's been amazing. I enjoy all of your videos.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, their YouTube channel is Retire, Recharge, and Roam. And if you're thinking about Laos, it's, you know, they have so many videos showing you the lifestyle. They're now going across, you know, the countryside. They have a Facebook page as well. So reach out to them and watch their videos, you know. So if you think about going to Laos, because it looks like a beautiful place, we'll definitely come check it out. So thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been a good time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See you guys.
All right.
All right. See you
Take
guys.
care.
All right.